Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that I now stream on twitch.tv/UnitLost. Go and give the channel a follow. It is beautiful. All right, let's take a look at these Lucio changes because he is, oh my god, what are Blizzard doing to him? They turned him into this like 1v1 kind of god. Anyway, let's look at the first thing here. This is the Aura graphic. Now, you will see here on the heal aura, it is the same as it was before on the previous PTR. The speed aura though, this looks really nice. It's animated, it moves around, it gives the sense of speed, which is awesome. That is a great change. I really like that, and it just conveys speed. But one of the big things, well, this is the big thing, Sonic Amplifier, damage increased by 25%, Heal Song, self-healing reduced by 33%, but it doesn't affect healing other players, and Wall Ride, the bonus speed has been decreased from 30 to 20%. Now let's just touch on to the Wall Ride for a second. The bonus speed happens when you stop wall riding, so you sort of speed and burst off. That's been reduced by 10%, which I think was always going to happen. But let's take a look at this. This is the damage that Lucio does on live compared to PTR. So we've got PTR on the left. Notice how fast he is applying the damage. Now there are two buffs here which are causing him to do more damage when compared to live. He has increased projectile speed, that was in the previous PTR update, and he now does 25% more damage. And you can see how that just rips through, well, the training bots. They've got large headshot hitboxes, so yeah, it's easy to damage them. Notice the damage here though. Did you just see that? I had gold damage. Lucio with gold damage. Granted, it's the start of the game, but a Lucio with gold damage? Are you joking me, Blizzard? Holy hell, this is great. I mean, I say, are you joking me? No, I think this is great. So what they've done is they've stopped Lucio from being as unkillable as he kind of was before on the PTR, because by reducing his self-healing by 33%, which is actually something I asked for. I actually went and made a post on the forums, the feedback forums for PTR. I don't think anybody read it, but I wanted to make a post, you know, just to get some thoughts out there. But one of the ideas was to reduce the healing that he kind of does, because it's too much, like maybe drop it down by 30% or so, and they've actually done it, but just to himself, which I think is a good change, because you've got to remember, Lucio's aura distance is now only 10 meters. That's very short. It means for Lucio to heal you, he has to basically run up to you. So by reducing the amount he heals himself, it makes it kind of easier for him to be killed in a duel, but now he outputs more damage. So we know Blizzard have a massive issue with all of the power residing in Lucio's passive auras, and passive abilities are bloody boring. We know this. It is terrible. In all the other Blizzard games, World of Warcraft, I touched on this before, when they had passive sort of abilities in your talent trees where it was like increased crit chance, whatever. It's crap. They're boring. We don't want them. We want active abilities. So what they're doing to Lucio here is quite clear. This PTR pass is turning him into a well, he's not a passive Lucio anymore. Like, this goes against everything I've ever said about Lucio, if these changes obviously go live. Because Lucio was all about staying alive. Lucio was not about getting into people's faces and smashing them and doing damage to them and supporting your team with close sort of combat abilities. It was you just sort of kept yourself alive. You ran around in the back. It was all chill. It was all fine. You didn't just jump in. You didn't just go in and try and 1v1 people, because that's stupid. Alright, granted, you still can't go in and like 1v1 people. You shouldn't be expected to be able to 1v1 a McCree or like a soldier or a Genji or something like that. But you are way more durable now. And because you can output damage, it is beautiful. So what we're going to look at here is, now obviously these are all PTR games, so quality can kind of be all over the place. This is going to be a complete game here of me playing on Dorado. And this will show you just like how big it is that you actually do damage. I mean, spoilers, I will end up with silver damage at the end of this. Silver damage. You know, we've got, I should not be silver damage, you know? Well, old Lucio should not be silver damage, but quite clearly, Blizzard want you to be doing more damage as Lucio. So, if we just try and recap what the changes are and what they're trying to do to Lucio, it's quite clear that they want him to be, well, I guess he's more skill dependent now, because if you're landing the hits with Lucio, you're doing a lot of damage. You have to get in there to support your team. I mean, look at me now, my positioning. I'm literally not helping anyone. I'm only supporting myself. So this is kind of bad play off me. I need to be with the team. Now, there has been a lot of stuff about dive comps. A lot of stuff about how Lucio, well, maybe he's going to bring back a tank meta, a triple tank meta, because he's got such a lot of healing. He'll be in there with the tanks supporting the attack, etc, etc, etc. Thing is, though, this is kind of stopping Lucio being as effective in a sort of dive comp, because now he doesn't move as fast after he stops wall riding, so he can't in theory keep up with the push as much. I mean, he still obviously can. He's Lucio, he can still speed boost, he can still get in there, you know, he should still be able to stay with the team, so that's only minor. But now he's not as durable himself, so he's not this just super tanky. I mean, look at that, I've got silver limbs, silver damage, this super tanky sort of support, which is kind of weird, right? So I don't think it's going to be, well, is it going to stop dive comps with Lucio? I don't know. Like, all of this, we need the game to go live. Well, we need the changes to go live before we can even work that out. One thing we do know for sure is we've got a Lucio that puts out more damage, a Lucio that's more engaging, a Lucio that moves faster when he's wall riding, and a Lucio with a very short range on his songs. No longer is it 30 meter, it is 10 meter. The sound barrier distance still remains at 20 meters though. But yeah, you've got to get in there and support your team. This lends itself, if we just go back to what I was talking about when you were watching the Route 66 footage about being a passive Lucio, all of a sudden now, this will reward aggressive Lucio play. Everybody knows who DSP Stanky is, the greatest Lucio ever. Well, the way he plays is kind of mad, right? If you watch pro gamers play, or even like people who are really high up in the ladder, I know he got very high up in the ladder, but generally the Lucio play, if they're a Lucio main, is very passive. Yes, they will try and boot people off the edge. Yes, they'll be annoying, but they're not up in your face trying to get kills. This Lucio now, though, well, it's going to reward that. So players like him, who are quite aggressive and get into your face, you know what? They should be loving these changes because you're going to actually be able to impact the game more because you can just do more damage. I mean, honestly, and I love this word, ladies and gentlemen, let it be known, I was flabbergasted the amount of damage I did towards the end of this game. I couldn't believe I was doing gold damage in the previous clip I showed you. It was just like, what? How can this be real? How am I doing this much damage? Well, it's just because the projectiles move faster and you do 25% more damage. And it's surprising how much damage you can do. So let's just look at Lucio compared to the supports, right? Because now we've got a very interesting dynamic unfolding. If we look at Mercy, right? I believe Mercy still does more DPS, right, if she's firing. But the difference with Mercy is she's got 0 survivability compared to Lucio. She moves really slow unless she's flying to people. And she can't heal and damage at the same time. So you can't even really compare those two for damage. Even though on paper, I'm pretty sure Mercy would do more damage with her pistol. But it doesn't work out that way because, well, Lucio can constantly keep firing. He can beat up in people's faces doing damage. So it's not equivalent DPS. Zen will still do more DPS than Lucio. At least, I would hope that Zen still does more DPS than Lucio because Zen doesn't have he doesn't have the survivability, he doesn't have the mobility. But based off this Lucio here, who seems to be outputting quite a bit of damage, it's going to be quite interesting. Obviously, Zen's other major component is Discord Orb, which does enable other members of the team to do considerable damage, and even Zen to that target. So that's, again, going to need to be worked out. But I don't think on paper Lucio should be doing more kind of damage than Zen, but we'll have to see. The other supports, obviously, we've got Symmetra. Well, Symmetra, that's fine. And Anna. Now, Anna's received a nerf to her DPS on live right now, which is right. You know, she shouldn't be doing 80 per hit. She now does 60 per hit, which is fine. You know, I'm cool with that. I've played quite a bit of Anna. I think she's okay. But the Lucio fitting into this situation is very interesting because we are definitely, if these changes go live, and remember, guys, this is PTR, we are definitely going away from passive Lucio just being alive. His main priority is not to die. His main priority is just to heal the team passively, drop a sound barrier when we get graviton or something like that. No, what we've got here is somebody who can open up opportunities for the team. Now, arguably, you could do that before, but it took an exceptional player to do that because Lucio had the worst damage really in the game. Like, there is the funny thing where Torbjorn's turret outputs more damage than Lucio, which it just did, which is kind of sad. Not anymore, or at least it shouldn't be. But what you've got is this very tanky, fast-moving character who can support his team in close proximity and get into people's faces and potentially open up avenues for attack. I mean, look at this. I'm still silver damage. 3,500 damage. Okay, granted, right? It is PTR. I don't expect to be doing this level of damage if I was playing at my SR in a proper team on ladder. Like, I don't expect that. But I still was very surprised that even in this environment, which these players are not too bad, but even in this environment, with the players on my team, like Hanzo's been doing a lot of work. He's getting a lot of eliminations. I presume that he's Golden Limbs. You know, what's Roadhog been doing? Where's the damage? Like, it is absolutely ridiculous. So I guess the question is, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this change? I am surprised they increased his damage even more because what they've done is give him more damage and offset his survivability somewhat. But he is still ultra survivable. He is still, like, he is the support that can pretty much 1v1 all the other supports, or at least he should be able to. Maybe the exception being Symmetra, she might be able to wreck you. But it's very interesting. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, guys. Are you a Lucio main? Do you like the way Blizzard are taking Lucio from this passive character to this in-your-face active character who is there to do, well, quite frankly, do damage, open up opportunities, and wall ride and just, like, be a goddamn nuisance? But now, he is a nuisance with a bite. He is, I don't want to call him a 1v1 god because he's not a 1v1 god, but he can definitely hold his own in a 1v1 situation pretty much against anyone now, which is very interesting. Instead of just running away, because before, yeah, he'd hold his own, but he'd have to run away. Now, you can sort of fight back. Very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Stylosa, and this is Unit Lost. If you enjoyed the video, then subscribe to the channel. Remember, I am streaming on twitch.tv/Unit Lost, so go and give the channel a follow. And I still can't believe, look at that, gold healing, silver damage. Beautiful. I'll catch you next time, guys. Toodaloo.